I do consider this a dud, but I am posting it anyway. Just content warning, there's a large unedited chunk of me being sad at the end of this video. So if you're particularly emotionally sensitive right now or emotionally insecure, please skip. I'll see you next week. Have you been a good friend to yourself? I don't know. I feel as though we've habitualized a kind of frustration and meanness to ourselves, or even a overly critical lens directed solely and only on ourselves, one that we wouldn't put on anyone else. I was having a conversation with somebody, and it's incredible the level of loyalty we have to people that we care about. What's most silly is when people say, oh, who do I have to get? Right? If somebody's upset and they say somebody's made them upset, they go, who do I have to get? Who do I have to commit a crime to? I personally think few things are worthy of a call to violence, but surely people for their friends would do much of anything. And it made me think, why don't we do that for ourselves? Why don't we afford that to ourselves? We believe ourselves not worth the effort we'd put into our friends, but we are. Being a good friend to ourselves is part of a sense of self-security. Being able to assure oneself that you'll be fine, that you'll be good, and all the ways that you do, that you serve, that you help your friends, you should be doing to yourself as well. I was really rough the other day. I was in emotional pain, right? And I tried something that I've been told by my guidance counselor to do. That is, write down all of my ideas, all of my thoughts, all of these statements that I'm forcing myself to believe or putting myself under, and then respond to them as though you'd be responding to your friend, right? We're so quick to accept the worst conclusions that come to our head as fact. But then when your friends tell you this, you're like, what are you talking about? What are you saying? How could you even think of that of yourself? That's what being a good friend to yourself means. It means giving yourself the same level of disgust at the worst thoughts of yourself as you would for a friend. If a friend tells you, I don't have it in me to continue. If a friend tells you that, oh, I'm incredibly terrible, I bring no value or worth, or I will never be able to reach what I want, would you let them do that to themselves? Would you let them say that to themselves? I feel like if you are particularly emotionally cognizant, you might let them vent and then listening to what they're speaking to perhaps provide support where needed. But I think a lot of us who are not very emotionally adept would go, no, what are you talking about? Don't talk to my friend like that. And that's one of my favorite lines to sort of break someone out of their headspace. Don't talk to my friend like that. But we're pretty poor friends to ourselves. Poor to the person who probably needs it most. If you're out here expending emotional energy on all your friends, helping them lift their heads above water, but you're also drowning, it's a good idea to ask them for help, to reach your hand up and have them grab it and pull you up as well. That is part of a good emotional ecosystem, having several pillars to lean back on. That's healthy. But in lieu of pillars, when they're all occupied or otherwise in their own weeds, when you're by yourself, if ever you are without friends, you must be a friend to yourself. That includes holding the space for yourself, letting yourself be mean, and then correcting them. I'm not sure if I completed this thought, but I made a list of a couple of things that I believed at the time of myself. And responding to the words that I say as though I'm responding to a friend really recontextualizes them. Because if you look at yourself objectively, not through layers upon layers of self-hatred or frustration or shame, you find that you're just a person. We're all just people in the end, trying to navigate our way, and we're not so important or lack of important that we're particularly special from anyone else. We assume that there's something special or different about our particular problems, that our problems are on some level unique. Be on the internet for at least 10 minutes. Look at people who have the same vibes, who have the same issues. The level of continuity between our generation and their shared problems is incredibly massive. We might be in the biggest glut of shared problem and emotion and thought process. 10 years ago, 100 years ago, the only common problem we would have had as a race, as a society, is that we're hungry. We're hungry. But there's a boon with the loneliness epidemic in America right now, and in a lot of the world. It's that you're lonely. You feel this all-encompassing sense of no one being there. And the interesting thing is, most other people feel lonely too. Most other people nowadays will also feel lonely, even if they're surrounded by people. Some people feel they're most lonely when surrounded by people who they feel as though care about them. And to that degree, speaking to that, we know our problems aren't unique, or if they are, only by 1 or 2 degrees of separation. If you are splitting hairs and saying, oh, a red car hit me, so this advice for a blue car hitting me doesn't make sense, we're overcomplicating it. We're overthinking it. Sometimes it is that simple. I think, period. We're probably not going to post this anyway, or it's going to be a dud, so I'm just going to start venting. I'm hard on myself. I'm very hard on myself, because when I'm not hard on myself, I believe that I'm giving myself slack, and that kind of slack hurts people. When I don't try, I don't get what I want, and when I don't try, people get hard. I'm pushing myself very, very hard, because I really, really want the things I want. I'm sure everyone else can relate. I'm sure people can relate with feeling as though if they stop, they won't start again. But life is full of short stops. And picking yourself back up and having to rev that engine. And the energy you exert in punishing yourself doesn't feed or serve anything. If we can't control anything, and our first instinct is to lash out and hurt ourselves, you're in a bad relationship with yourself. Ding, 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 10 minutes.